How will you assist with preventing youth crime? With what has happened in Palmy recently and throughout New Zealand, we need things to help guide young people down the right path.
Yes, well, we've got the Companies Act now, and it's carrying on business fraudulently or dishonestly incurring debt. And so this is what our council is doing. And it says that every person who is knowingly a party to a company carrying on business with intent to defraud creditors of the company or any other person for fraudulent purpose commits an offence and is liable on conviction for the penalties. Every director of a company who by false pretences or other fraud induces a person to give credit. Well, these guys, if you've got like corrupt criminals running your positions of power and authority, if your hierarchy is undisclosed, so we don't know who the PNCC is, we don't know who they call this thing the group is, we don't know what they've got no legal structure, they've got no ultimate holding company, it's basically every dog and every man for himself. And when you have this sort of lack of leadership or lack of morals within your system, then it's very, very hard to criticise people at lower doing petty crimes and this sort of thing. You've got to be consistent. We in my speech we talked about Sharia law, and that's really interesting, or Sharia court or something. That's really interesting.
When I was a classroom teacher, it became pretty apparent for me one day when I was watching a young Māori boy come up, walking past the staff room. And as he was walking like this, looking at his feet. He had shoes. And for me it was like he had no direction. Okay, so for me, it's about actually the self-esteem of the young person, nurturing it. Success breeds success. Make sure, and you've got to wrap around the man because they've got to succeed at school. School is actually a really major player, and we can change the world if our kids are successful at school. That's where the breakdown happens. I guarantee those ones that went through the plaza, were in the square, I bet you that their school experience was a disaster.
So how can the council help with that?
I guess better partnerships with schools, programs that actually encourage self-confidence and resilience in the schools. Assimilation and mainstream education just doesn't work. Hasn't worked for Māori. Overrepresented, and you have a punitive response, and then what's going to happen? Again, rangatahi overrepresented in our criminal court system. We can't do it. It's got to stop.
First, the crime, it's a fact that nobody can control, but we can prevent, but sometimes you cannot control it. I hear people talking about the police. The police officers are not a magician to detect the crime happening somewhere. But how we can do it to follow the roots, to go by the roots, why these young people becoming so useless. Why they're becoming a criminal, or even an adult becoming criminal. Why? So, I say that youth without ambition is it's a casualty of the country. In our city, we have to put a program. The program to teach history of our city, history of our country. And then we have, in New Zealand, we have a rugby as an identity. Why can't we have an identity of, Palmerston of identity also? So the crime is something we have to work together. All committees have to work together to prevent a crime. So, as part of, if I'm an elected mayor, I will ask to work in collaboration with police force and to create a small unit, what they call municipal police.
Talk to them, bro. I'll sit down and talk to them one-on-one.
Okay. Yeah, it's also, they are lost. They are lost. They're missing a role model. Thank you.
Kia ora. Look, I think our Rangitane councillors answered it really, really well right at the start. And I do think it is a community issue. And I don't disagree with some of the comments that have been made here. But it's more that these young people have fallen out of society. We need alternative education. Glenn's right, education is the key. And they're not in school, we know that. So what are they doing? They're looking for things to do. So we've got to have the Peter and the Ange Butlers doing stuff. Absolutely, absolutely. So we've got to get others involved. And it's not just the police are the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. So we've got to get to the top of the cliff and understand why they're doing this. And I do think they're just... Can I speak first? Thank you. So it's getting the community together. It's getting the government agencies. It's getting schools together. It's understanding why these kids are dropping out. And I don't think all of them are bad by any means, but they've just taken a wrong direction in life. As a city, we're the enabler to try and get them back onto the right path. So that's what I'd be doing.